Go live. Put that out. All right, how's everyone out there today in YouTube world? It's Bob. I'm back. First interview of 2025. I'm delighted to have my old friend Doug come back. He's been on here before. We talked about the riding club he's the president of, and a little bit about his radio station. So today we're going to focus on his radio station, and we are going to talk a little bit of politics today, because he's a political kind of guy too, as am I. So without any further ado, let's welcome up to the stage our friend Doug. Hiya, Doug. How are you, brother?
Good. How you doing, Bob?
Screen. Good, man. Good. Long time no see. How was Christmas and all that?
It was pretty quiet this year. We kind of held off. My daughter was away in Alberta until the 29th, so we actually held off everything until she came back this year. So it was pretty quiet, but it was good.
You just got the one kid?
Well, I have it's a stepdaughter, stepson, and then I have two boys as well. So
right. And yeah, I don't know if we talked about that last time, family. Yeah, see, my daughter's 24, and she's down at Turks Caicos working for Club Med.
Oh, okay, cool.
So she's had the job down there for about a year. But same thing, she didn't come home. We all went to my mom's, and there's one more round of younger kids after my kids, right? They're cousins. Like my nephew had some kids. So now it's just basically about them. You know, we don't care. We're adults. We just want to hang out together for a day and eat some turkey and shit.
Yeah. I mean, I was fortunate enough. I went to my best friend's house in the morning, had a little visit there, and then we went to a friend's house for Christmas dinner. So didn't even have to make Christmas dinner this year, which was great. So yeah, it turned out to be good.
Yeah, that's all right. The New Year's, I don't even think I saw him the New Year's. I think I might have saw him about 10 p.m.
You know what? This was the first year in 15 years that I fell asleep before midnight and woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning on the couch. It was the first time in like 15 years.
My son heard me moving around in my room. Same deal. Woke up, 1 or 2 in the morning, and he comes in. He goes, "Happy New Year." I go, "Thanks for telling me, buddy," but whatever. He's like, he never knows whether do I wake up dad and get yelled at, or don't wake up dad and get yelled at. So I try not to yell at him, right?
Right.
He doesn't need to be yelled at with it. Well, he's got enough shit going on in his life without his dad yelling at him.
That's right.
So come on now, people. We got no viewers today. Oh, we got a couple of viewers today. That's good. Okay. So, we touched on the Radio Rocks a little bit last time. Yeah. What other kind of stuff? I know that you had mentioned one time to me about if a riding club or any sort of club, it doesn't have to necessarily be a riding club, is doing a charitable event, to contact the radio station and you help them out with some advertising?
Yeah, we give, or what I have done in the past, and I really try to promote it and heavily promote it, is because I know all of these events that they run, most of them are charity related. You know, some are club related, but usually there's some sort of a charity related part to it. Yeah. And so all they need to do is just reach out to me at the radio station. You can go through the website or whatever be the case. And at least, hopefully within a month ahead of time before their actual event, and I actually give them free advertising on the radio station for 2 weeks leading up to the event. And so that's like, club events, charity rides, poker runs, anything is kind of motorcycle related in event wise. And it just helps foster, a better motorcycle community itself, right?
I think so too. Now, did you stop? Do you guys do like a news during your episodes on the radio station?
No, we try to keep everything as minimal as possible when it comes to any voice work that's on there. I mean, you got to have a little bit, obviously, but everything that's related to it that you are going to hear voice related is going to be motorcycle related. You're not going to hear commercials from Sobeys or other things like that. Anything that you're going to hear, any advertising that you're going to hear, the industry as a whole will be about motorcycles or motorcycle industry itself.
So I was gonna say, like, you can make maybe one into a news story, but if you don't do news, then that's not really a thing.
Yeah.
I
You
just
know,
got this.
everybody has access to their favorite newscast now, or where they catch their news story of the day of what's happening or whatever be the case. And then there's other people that don't want to hear it at all. And
Right.
so, that's the whole thing with the radio station is, the concept idea was, if I drive from Brantford to Northern Ontario with a traditional radio station, I'm going to go through 4 to 6 radio stations by the time I get there.
Oh, geez,
You
yeah,
know,
minimum, yeah.
yeah, like easy. And then, okay, so now you can have your playlist as well, which is great. Problem
Yeah,
is, your playlist is the same list over and over and over again. And so
yeah,
it's so funny that, I've been around for 4 years now, that when people are listening to the station and stuff, they're like 99% of that's on on my playlist. So it's great because it's just a different way and a different format for them to hear it. And the biggest thing that I've seen and notice and grow is during the wintertime, a lot of them are now listening to it in the garage, in their man cave, whatever. It's almost like they've taken ownership to the radio station. They feel
nice.
like it's theirs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not the general public. And pardon me. And that's one other thing. If I could just make a plug about the advertising, is that in traditional terrestrial radio stations, when you're advertising, yeah, it sounds great. They have 100,000 people listen through a day, but the
yeah.
problem is that you're paying as a flat coverage for all of that. But what percentage is actually your market?
Right, right.
Where
Who wanted the motorcycle part?
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
So, that's great. 100,000. Well, you may only have, 100 or say 1,500 people listening that day that ride motorcycles. So the
right.
numbers look great, but this is a very niche market radio station where anybody who tunes in typically, I mean, I do have other people that just like the music as well, but
Yeah,
overall, you're going to look at about 98% of those who do listen to the radio station have got to know it through the motorcycle industry, and they're involved in the motorcycle industry. So now, I may have 30,000 listeners a month, but 98% of that ride motorcycles. So
now
that's your market.
this is the plug for Doug from me. All you guys who open your clubhouses up on the weekend, tune into that radio station. Give it a shot. Maybe it's the perfect fit for your Friday night festivities.
Yeah, it's just a good variety of driving music. That's really what it is. Good riding music. A little bit of the 60s in through 70s, 80s, 90s, and a few newer hits that pretty much everybody recognizes. Nothing bubblegum, nothing Justin Bieber, and no, thrash and death metal. It's just good driving music is what it is.
No, I was looking at the website here on my other monitor. If you wonder where my head keeps turning to, that's why I got the two monitor thing going on, trying to get fancy. And the last playlist, there's songs on there that I wouldn't have thought of, but I've been listening to them all my life. The Walk of Life by Dire Straits, stuff like that. The Kings of Leon, they're on my playlist. And who the hell are the Choir Boys? Is that a band I'm forgetting about?
They were kind of the last round of long hair bands at that time. They were actually known as the London Choir Boys.
Oh,
And they
okay,
had
okay.
they had a couple of big songs, and then they ended up dropping London off their name, just the Choir Boys. So
They're just the Choir
yeah,
Boys now. Like Bush
yeah,
and Bush X. Remember that with Bush when they came to, yeah.
yeah.
There was a band with the name Bush, so they got the name Bush because they were from UK, and then they came here and found out that some of the other band already had the name, so they put the X at the end.
That's right.
And then they had been big in North America for 2-3 years, and then I went to England and caught them on a breakfast cable show. The big breakfast, whatever the hell it was called,
Yeah,
interviewing Gavin for the lead singer, and nobody even knew who they were in England.
really.
Yeah, they got all their success in North America. Like, he married Gwen Stefani, for God's sakes.
Huh.
Like, you got to be rich and married and successful to get even close to a girl like Gwen Stefani.
Right. Exactly.
Not like No Doubt was the best group in the world, but you know what I mean. She parlayed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
She
I mean,
parlayed it.
the songs that they did that were big. I mean, you know them when you hear them. You know it's No Doubt. So they had short success, but longevity, I guess, with a few. It wouldn't be a one-hit wonder, maybe about a three-hit wonder, I guess, maybe. But
Yeah, a couple albums, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we just had a question about. Oh, geez, I can't even spell. Well, good thing you caught me on the one before we started. Hi, Steve. Hi, Chris. So, Chris, I'm going to put it up. I'm going to share the screen with us. Because I remember how to. So, this is his radio station here. I'll go to the top. And you're right. It's an online radio station. Thank you, Steve, for joining us, brother. I appreciate that. And you too, David. Thanks for coming in. Happy New Year to you too, brother. Good. We always get some of our bass comes every week. That's the main thing. So yeah. So anyways, go ahead.
I was just going to say that it's it is an online radio station. The beauty is you can get it anywhere. You have your smartphone with you. You can get it through Alexa. Most music apps that are out there, you'll be able to find. That play radio stations. You're going to be able to find it. It's not on iTunes. It's not on iHeartRadio. And it's not on what's the other one I was thinking of? In order to be on there, you got to be making
Spotify.
millions and millions of dollars.
You think no, not Spotify.
Yeah.
Well, the Joe Rogan went on too. And
you gotta be big name to be on there. But pretty much anything else that's out there. I am going to develop an app this year for just the radio station itself. So you'll be able to download the app and just be able to play it that way. But pretty much most radio venues that are out there that people are listening to in music, you put in Ryder Radio Rocks and it'll pop up. We're everywhere. We're all over the place.
Now, that's a question. What was it going to be? Did you go on that there's a something Radio Canada app? Are you on that app?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Like FM 96 and all them bigger stations are on that also, right?
Yeah.
Is it on your end or my end, the dogs?
Yeah, a couple of dogs. The wife must have just come home.
Yeah. No, thanks, Steve, for coming in all the way from North Carolina. You can still tune in to Ryder Radio Rocks anywhere. Yeah, that's the cool thing about being an online station. How much is it involved to get one of these online radio stations going? I think another biker news guy from the States does one.
Well, there's probably about a handful in North America, but the ones that are out there that at least I've done my homework on to see what else the competition is doing out there, they either have it's like a limited show, like they'll run it from say 5 till 9, and then they'll have like a weekend show or whatever. Where this radio station is 24/7, so it's actually like an actual terrestrial radio station. It runs 24/7, and people can do it. I mean, once you learn the software and stuff like that, and you find the system that's going to work for you. Pretty much, I guess anybody could really start a radio station. But the problem is that, this is great. I love rock music. And now the thing is, there's 50,000 rock stations across North America. The question is, why do people listen to them? Like, you have to have your market. And that's what makes this radio station so different, is that it is strictly related for the motorcycle industry. And last year we won the Canadian Choice Award for Best Radio Station. And I just found out that we are in the final 3 for this year. I'll find out on January 6th for if we won the award again. So
January 6th. Oh, see, and I just caught on that the logo is inside a guitar pick.
Yes. And if you notice the front tire, it's like an old school microphone.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, like I say, I got an old school microphone tattooed on me somewhere. Right. Oh, my camera is glitchy. That's fucked up. I wonder what's going on with that.
Uh,
And it was funny because I had a dog named Elvis, so I put an Elvis silhouette on me for the dog. He was the best dog. He really
oh yeah.
was. You know, big old Rottweiler. He sucked like a big old sucky, but just because, just the size and the look of him, everyone else stay away from that dog. But he was the best dog. Yeah, yeah. He was an amazing dog. Oh, you had some. So you do some. So what's the what where to go segment about?
Sorry, what's that, Bob?
There's a segment on the last plate here. Here, I'll flip up the screen. It
I was gonna
says
say if you
where
could show me.
it says where to go. Uncle D, that's you. I take it.
Oh, that's just a tagline. Uh, it's it's not an ad. It's like a 7 or 8 second plug. Like you're listening to riderradiorocks.com kind of deal.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
in my head it was like, is it like, hey, if you're hungry tonight, go check out Joe and Joe's Snaggy's Motorcycle Friendly, etc. Right?
Yeah. Anyone that has a picture beside it of me, then that's just a, a small pause break between song. That's all it is.
It's a tagline sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a tagline.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, are you retired? Are you done your working days, or did the radio station take care of it?
Oh no, I'll never retire. I'll
What
be working till the day I die, pal.
What do you do? If it's something
Well,
you
I
can
have the
talk
radio
about,
station. Then I've also for the last come this May, I've been a tattoo artist for the last 15 years.
oh, you do tats too.
Yeah. I was out in West Lincoln until 2 or 3 years ago now. Found love in Brantford, and that's how I ended up in Brantford. But I had 4 tattoo shops out there.
It's a funny little town, Brantford. Oh, it's nice to be the owner of the tattoo shop too.
Well, it was just a solo shop, right? So I didn't have
Okay.
any employees or anything. So
Oh, so you've
I don't
had
have,
4 of them, different
yeah,
spots.
I had four different ones, whatever. And then COVID hit, and I had a breakup at the same time. Sold my house. COVID shut everything down, and so then I took a break for a while, and clients started calling me and. Doug, are you tattooing again? Are you tattooing? And I'm like, no, not yet. And they're like, oh, come on, kind of deal. So just because I was always so good with the health board, you know what I mean? Like I never wanted to ruin that reputation that I had.
Yeah.
So I said it got to the point where I just called up the health board and I said, look, I'm not opening another shop, but I am going to tattoo. So we need to figure out a system that's going to work here because I'm just being honest with you. I need to work and I'm not opening a shop and I'm not working for somebody else.
Right.
So we worked together about 3 months, I guess, overall, come down to it. Most shop inspections usually take about 45 minutes, maybe an hour at most. My final inspection was 3.5 hours.
Wow.
And so
They don't
I
go to
became,
the restaurants that good.
yeah, I became from in the Niagara Public Health. I was the very first approved mobile tattoo artist.
Oh, so that was your. I would have thought you'd be able to put a designated, like in my house, but this room I'm in is kind of separated from the rest of the house by a door,
Right.
And then there's a door that goes outside. You would think they would be able to work that out, make it okay, so it put in the plumbing, whatever you need to put in.
Well, that was my last shop. I bought a big house that had an in-law suite, and I gutted the in-law suite, and because I had by that time built up my reputation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all part of it. You can't start off that way. You got to work up to that point, right?
Right.
So that's why I lost my last shop because I also sold the house at the same time.
So you sold your
right?
shop.
So and then knowing that I was moving to Brantford and already with the number of shops that were here and 80% of my clientele from Hamilton to Niagara Falls, now I'm starting anew again over here kind of deal, right? So that's why I went mobile. So now I travel all over the place.
Good. I'll stop and get some ink from you. So Steve's got a question. Can you listen to the States? You can, can't you? So.com?
Yes. Yep.
And then do you have any fans in the States?
I have lots of fans in the States.
Oh, you do know?
Yep. Let me just check on something here.
Oh, so the program, everything tracks everything for you, eh?
Yeah, it does.
That's cool. Oh, you even got some country in there sprinkled in.
Yeah, a little the odd one here or there. Some of the stuff that's like can do a crossover kind of deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just running through my system here quick.
No problem,
But
Steve.
yeah, but by country wise, the States is typically overall is usually number 2 or number 3. I have a lot of people that listen from Germany and Brazil, Poland.
Cool.
Yeah,
That is cool.
yeah.
I like that. Yeah, like
But
you're
yeah, I
saying.
mean it's universal. It's music, right? I mean whether it's in English or not. I mean if you're in Europe, you're gonna know that song too. I mean if you're
Yeah.
aware of what that song is, right? So
Yeah, see, now I was always kind of on the peripherals of being in the music industry, and then I ended up being a disc jockey for years and years, just parties and that shit. But you still
yeah.
gotta know your music.
Oh, for
And then,
sure.
and then from there, I went to strip joints, and them strippers, they're the best at bringing in some obscure music that's really, really good, eh?
Oh yeah.
Oh, geez, yeah. At least the ones I worked with were. I don't know what the deal is these days. I think everything these days is that stupid EDM music, and I can't
Oh,
stand that.
it's not even music. They don't
No, it's
even
just a
make
bunch.
music now.
It's a bunch of noises that are all strung together. It's like, what the hell are you people doing?
Yeah,
So yeah, it always makes me wonder, eh? But
yeah.
I think it's harder out there for.
I DJ'd
Hmm?
through my teenage years as well, and that was old school. That was with 45. So
Yeah, see, when we were doing it, two 1200s and a microphone, man.
right.
You always had the Techniques 1200s because they were the
Yeah,
best and they were durable, and few big stacks of big bins. We had the big stacks of speakers going up to the ceilings. You know what I mean? A crazy
yeah,
light show and strobes, and you get
yeah.
those drunken high school kids in there, and they're all falling around like idiots. Hi, Barbie. How are you? Then, you got it, bro. I can get them going. Yeah. But yeah, no, that was something that never ever occurred to me that there is even such a thing as online radio stations, and now you're seeing them pop up. I think it's a great idea. Anything that gets music out there.
Well, statistically, they say that by 2030, 80% of all terrestrial radio stations will be online. It is the way of the future.
If they want to survive, they're going to stay online,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah.
Hey Barbie, how cold is it out there in Alberta? Didn't you guys get crushed with a polar vortex thing? Happy New Year too, Barbie. I think they got crushed, didn't they, this week?
I thought it was warm out there this past week.
DJ and Fred. These guys are funny. Yeah, I think it just came in like over the last few days. It's coming towards us.
Yeah,
It cooled down a fair bit today. That's why I thought I'd be working my out there working myself.
yeah.
Minus 29 with the
Yeah,
wind
it's
chill.
getting chilly out there right now.
Yeah, Steve, that's what I was talking about. Was Hollywood's online? Does his go all day, Steve? Do you know, or does he just do time segments? Look at minus 29 wind chill tonight.
Jeez.
Woo, woo. And it was +2 on Monday. And the week before Christmas, because I did a story on it, because the poor guy was out for a December blast in, I think, Lethbridge. And somebody had to pull out in front of him and end his life like 3 days before Christmas. 36-year-old guy. Oh, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's freezing in America, Steve says. Well, there's a few reasons I want to go to that bike show this weekend. And it like you to network and see who's out there. I try to do a live thing with Angie if I can get my phone to cooperate. If I can't, I can't. It is what it is. I'll take some video
Right.
snips and I'll take some photos and I'll try to come back and put it together and make it into a show.
Right.
But I've been pushing on all these clubs that host weekly rides or monthly rides or even one big ride for a person or two in their club to go find that motorcycle first aid kit.
Oh yeah.
course? Because
Yep.
they'll come to you if you got enough students, right?
Right.
So I would assume that they're going to have. Where's Starford, Chris? Or do you mean Stratford? Mistype? But yeah, that oh, he does do it all day. Okay, but yeah,
Okay.
so I want to find out those people, see if I can get them on for an interview.
Sure.
See if I can get on. There's bound to be a lawyer on there about how these clubs can become nonprofits if they so desire. Evening, Warland, how are you? Good to see you, brother. And who else? Oh, and I think what are they called? The fallen something. They're going to be there.
Yeah.
You can go talk to them. Fallen Riders Association, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. The Fallen Riders. Yeah.
And they just wrapped up that big toy drive and stuff.
Yes.
So I'm going to stop and talk to them. And Angie's there. Southern Cruisers are there. So there'll be some people there.
Oh yeah.
It'll be worth the while.
Yep.
I can definitely take your advice. Good advice though on the press pass.
You got to learn all the little techniques in the corners, how to schmooze and rub the elbows, right? So.
Well, yeah, why not, man? Why not? I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
Steve, they didn't
that's
have.
what I did. I did that
Go
last
ahead.
year too. I just reach out and say, do you have media passes for this? I want to cover it, and that's how I get in.
Well, yeah, may as well.
Yeah.
Good, bro. Keep taking care of yourself, Warland, brother. You can do it. I know I don't feel that good anymore either. I don't know if it's just the stress of chasing everything all the time. Stratford. Oh, you are close to me, Chris. Nice. Are you going to the bike show too, brother? The one on, it's not far. It's just up by the airport. That's why I don't mind about going there from London, because it's only an hour and a half to the airport.
Yeah. And it's good too, because you don't have to get deep into the city to get there. So.
Right. I'm just trying to think of that stupid street it's on now. But anyways, I know it when I see it. I used to live up in that area. I used to live on the top of 427 in Finch. There's a big Humber College campus up there.
Right.
Yeah. There's a Humber College campus, and there's 2 or 3 ghettos all around it, right? So it's funny. I was like one of the very few white families in that neighborhood. Fine by me. I don't give a shit who's what. But everyone kept to themselves, and that, in my opinion, is even better. And I got my window open one night. I'm making a sandwich before I go to bed, and I hear pop, pop. I'm like, well, I know from personal experience what that is.
Right.
And they called it the Summer of the Gun. They spent the whole summer up around the northwest part of Toronto banging each other up with those things, man. They were insane.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit of politics today because Doug's a political guy too. Actually, I was going to morph into that kind of around now. Where do you think we're going next year?
Well, I think it's a no-brainer. I think, one way or the other, we got to have an election. It's just a matter of when.
I've already got a foregone conclusion that we're going to be PC next year, and I'm not even worried about that.
Yeah, like that's it's a given. I mean, even liberals are saying the PC is going to get in. So,
yeah,
it's just it's a no-brainer. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen and how blue the country's going to be.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what's going to happen once he's in there, because he's got lots of great taglines, and obviously right away, I'm not a conservative supporter. Give them their chance because it's Canada. Whoever gets elected gets elected. That's out of my hands, right?
Right.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky for governor.
For all intents and purposes, he'd probably make you a good PM. He doesn't want you.
Yeah, I mean he's just starting to really kind of enjoy that retirement life, I think, more than anything else. So I mean, when you got time to do commercials, then you got time on your hands, right? So
yeah, exactly. He hasn't even lived in Canada for 20, 30 years.
No, exactly.
Yeah. And I'm going to do a show about this also. Coming from the hockey culture, it's hard to trust a guy that comes from the hockey culture because when they're coming up through the into junior hockey, it's a weird culture, eh? We had
Yeah.
that gang rape course case here in London with all the Canadian juniors. And I've seen it with my own eyes. It's a weird culture.
Yeah, it's not, you know, unfortunately it's a rich man's sport now too. Like,
Right,
the
right.
average
If your
home
parents aren't
coach,
rich, you're not getting in.
you're not getting in. And that's
Yeah.
just the reality of it. It's just ridiculous how expensive it is now for hockey.
I knew guys. He spent upward of $100,000 a year on his kid, and his kid was never going to be good enough. The coaches told him that way back when. They said, "Stop spending your money."
Right.
But then it becomes a pride thing for the parent. Parents are weird, eh? It becomes a
Yeah.
pride thing for the parent that he wants to be able to sit there Saturday morning and go, "That's my kid down there doing that."
Yeah. It's like a subculture of parents that are, as they say, the hockey moms or, whatever be the case. Right. And it becomes part of their bragging rights as a parent, when they're standing out front of the school and, oh, my guy, oh, your kid doesn't play hockey. It's like a status thing almost.
Yeah, once we become the 51st state, that's the thing that always cracked me up too, Trump. We got more landmass in America. You guys can become our 11th province.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think with Polyev though, just to touch on that, I think with Polyev, he's our best chance at dealing with Trump. For what options are there now, he is our best chance.
Right, and even if the Liberals go for a leadership race before the election, which they will, then the front runner is Chrystia Freeland, and nobody in Canada likes her either.
Nope. And Trump doesn't like her. He's got no use for her just as well as Trudeau.
Right. Like, I don't think Trump's going to put 25% tariffs on the oil that he needs for his country. That's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. But he's gonna come out swinging. And I once in a while, as we know, he puts the horse before the cart before the horse, and he says stuff that he doesn't stop to think about. And I'm sure that they've probably settled him down on that thing because we haven't heard too much more about it from his side since he said it.
No, then he backed off. He just threw it out there.
It's more of us that's talking about it than what he's saying, right?
Which is what he wanted. That's what he wanted. Now back to the hockey culture thing. Steve said he played for 25 plus years in New England, and they had a close connection to the Canadian hockey players. And it is weird as how the culture and the change rooms and the way they talk and stuff like that. Yeah, Fisher's parents, you got it. So down there, I guess you guys would have those same sort of parents in like minor league football. We don't have minor league football up here, but we have some minor league baseball and stuff. See, and Barbie being from Alberta says, Danielle will give away all of our oil and gas to get an invite to Mar-a-Lago. I don't know how that woman got elected premier. She's going to be the first one that privatizes healthcare, I think, in Canada. Well, Doug Ford already has.
Right.
But I think she's going to do it as a province-wide thing,
Right.
Ford's, where was it? People need to look at Trump like a businessman, not about kissing politician. Yeah, that's right. True. Yeah, right. Go in there with your facts and figures right, and there's not much you can do about it.
No. And that's what I like about Kevin O'Leary. And he says, Trump is not Trump, but Trudeau is the worst manager Canada's ever had. Because it is a business, whether you like it or not, it is. Well, and that's why Trump does have successes, because he runs it like a business.
Right. But and see, this is the one thing that always drives me crazy about everyone who says Trump the businessman. He's a shitty businessman. He bankrupted casinos. He took his subcontractors to court and said, I'm not going to pay you for your contract that I signed. And if you want to fight about it in court, I got more lawyers. That's scuzzy. Like, that's why I don't like the guy, right? I find all that stuff is scuzzy. That's what a rich guy does to a not so rich guy.
Well, I think now, it's more of the bragging rights, obviously, of being the president of the United States, that he's going to do what's best for his business, and he's going to get the job done.
Yeah, but see, he can do business in an honorable way and still get the job done.
Yeah, but
I
he's at the point at 70 some odd years old that he's got his reputation. He's not going to just start changing things now.
Oh yeah, I get that, Steve. So yeah, it takes a lot of business to make a buck. So some are going to fail and some are going to not fail. I understand that also. And some of the way, see, that it's misleading also when you say that he bankrupted casinos, and I know it and I say it because a bankruptcy in a business isn't throwing it all away and walking away. It's restructuring your debt so you can afford to make your payments.
Right.
That's what Title 11 means and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not, you didn't fail at the business. You just had to restructure your debts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it takes
he's smart because
yeah.
that's the thing about business is you never play with your own money. You always use somebody else's.
Oh, she's that radical out there, eh, Barbie? There's that Steve Boots guy. Do you ever watch him on YouTube? Steve Boots. He said he's a liberal guy. And shows like what the hell, Canada, and
Oh,
then he goes
no.
through all the crazy stuff that's happened politically.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a good channel. I like watching those channels. 4 companies and 1 make loot, so I get it. Yeah, and that's the same with me. I got a delivery company, a heating company. I rent rooms in my house, blah, blah, blah. And I'm still chasing my bills.
Right.
But then again, a lot of times you get to the point where you're like so far behind, it's like, fuck this, and you don't want to do anything. So I have those days sprinkled in there too that don't help.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It's hard when you have that minor hiccup and you lose your motivation, you lose your mojo, and sometimes it's hard to
Yeah.
get it back and rolling again.
Because see, when I started this gas company, I went through, got my pardon, got my record disappeared. Right, I had to set up a subcontract with Enbridge Gas, and we were building like crazy. And all those gas meters on our houses have an expiry date. So at some point, every gas meter on every house in Canada has to get swapped out.
Right.
Because they're old and they're not safe anymore.
Right.
So at the bottom end, you could just swap out gas meters on houses and make a few thousand a week. So I started doing that. And then they said, but if you want to handle Enbridge's calls for smell of gas, house inspections on new builds, and then boom. So I got into that. I was making like $6,000 a week some weeks legally. I was like, holy shit, this ain't bad. Yeah. Last time I made money like that, it cost me some time in jail, right? So well, I don't think and again, I could be 100% wrong. I don't think Trump would ever try to make a move into. Well, how would they do it? Like annex Canada? You know what I mean? It would have to be
Yeah.
militarily.
Yeah. It wouldn't happen. He's just blowing wind out his ass. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, I heard that about the MSs are only given 89-day contracts, so they don't pay for benefits. I've heard about that. So the ambulance people are staying home. They are. They're going to other provinces. Why wouldn't they? Oh, wow, that could be something. Because if you're looking at it from the dreamer's point of view about, geez, let's become part of America, I'd put my hand up and say, fuck yeah, let's go.
Right.
Because then I could go back into the States again because I'm part of them. Right? And the $1,000 computer that we buy in Canada only costs $600 in the States.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they'd have to have universal health care as a part of the deal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just open the border, period.
Well, that's it. Like, instead of saying tighten it up more, just open up and let us flow through it like we used to before 9/11.
Right.
We used to just, if I wanted to go to Windsor and pick up some cheap fucking food at the supermarket, I'd jump my car and drive to Windsor, and nobody would ever say nothing. Where are you going?
Right.
Tell
Yeah.
them where you're going. When are you going to be back? Tell them when you're going to be back, and they don't care.
Yeah.
I used to drive over on my motorcycle with my club badge on, bro.
Really?
Yeah. Where are you going? I'm going down to see my brothers in Detroit. Have a good weekend. And that would be it, man. That'd be the end of the conversation at the border.
That's not the case now.
No, man. Unbelievable, eh?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I rode my bike with the club brothers all over Michigan, all over the place, man. It was one of my favorite places to go. Yeah, and we're their biggest trading partner. Absolutely, we are. Like, what is it? 80% or 60% of our goods that get exported land in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
see,
need them. They need us. It'll work out in the wash. So
and Steve, our friend Steve used to go to Windsor all the time and just go party for a night. I remember that from being in the club because we had a chapter in Windsor, and we'd have to pick what strip clubs we go to because there'd be them ones full of 19-year-old American boys wanting to pick a fight or prove something, right?
right.
And it's like, oh, I don't want to have to beat down one of these kids again this weekend. Let's go to that bar, right?
Right. Yeah, it's funny how you get to that point, eh? And you're like, listen, I'd rather just sit down and have a beer with you rather than get into a fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And Canadians in a bar, they don't mind having a fight in the bar.
Right.
You get a couple Canadian guys to film a hockey stick, they'll have a fight even quicker.
Yeah, exactly. But again, culturally, again, that's changed. I mean, back in the day, you used to be able to step outside, throw the gloves, and go back
Come in
inside,
and have a beer.
Have a beer, whatever. Now it's who's getting charged, and half the time, it's not one-on-one anymore. It's 2 or 3 on one, and somebody's got a knife or
and
a
somebody
weapon
brings out the shooter. Yeah.
Like it's can't yeah. I mean, it's the whole mentality of the old handshake and away you go. It just doesn't happen anymore.
Hey, America Uncensored, how are you, bro? Thanks for coming. And see, that's another thing that Barbie was talking about. We're bouncing back and forth, I know, because the comments come a bit later, right? But like she was saying about the ambulance workers getting 89-day contracts because it's a day short of a 90-day, right? How do you get a mortgage on that? How do you go to the bank and say I'm good for the next 3 months? Give me a mortgage.
Yeah. That sucks.
I'm so worried that when this mortgage runs out, the company I'm with is going to say, beat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's gone. Like this spring, things really have to turn around big time for me. They have to.
Right. Well, I'm at a point now where I rent. I've been renting for the last, I guess since 2020, I guess. I'll never buy another house. I'm at a point in my life where I'm not going to do it.
And see, bro, I don't know if I told you very much about how my personal situation is. So my son's 20 and he's autistic and he's always going to need someone to help him, make him supper, whatever. He's going to need someone to buy his groceries, do his bills, whatever, right? So I'm holding on to this house for dear life because it's insured. So when I'm done, the mortgage is paid. When they put me in the ground, and then his older sister will own it, and I know he's got a place to live at.
Right.
Because if not, they're going to put him in some shitty apartment over there on Hamilton Road in the ghetto with his OSDP check and somebody come in and check on him once a day, and that'll be his life.
Right.
And I don't want him to live that life if I can help it.
Yep.
Now, who the fuck knows? It might be out of my hands at the end of it.
Right.
Yeah, and then you know what they're doing for those labels, Barbie? Everyone, Canadians and Americans, check their labels, made in China, put it down, find something made local. But now they're sending their shit over here to be either packed or put together. So if it's assembled or packed in North America, that's the label it gets.
That's right.
So you have to really check. You do a deep dive on the label, not more than just glance at it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, eh? You could get from I guess Tennessee. So he could get from Tennessee at 4 a.m, and he'd be driving his old lady across the bridge that day. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Steve. If you're leaving, brother, I always appreciate your input. Thanks, bro. Now the
That's one
last
thing I love.
time,
That's
go
one thing
ahead.
I love about the visitors to Ontario, hey Bob, is they come here and can we drive to Vancouver?
Yeah,
You realize it takes 24 hours just to get outside of Ontario, right?
right.
Like they don't get the concept, like especially Europeans, right? Because you give them a day, 8 hours, like 8 to 12 hours, they can go through 5 different countries,
Yeah.
but they don't get how big our landmass is here. I always love that.
When I went and stayed with those guys from Britain, that was they asked, and they had done the research, I guess, and they did the research after I got there, and they were saying that Britain's got twice the population, and you could fit Britain inside of Ontario, and there'd still be more of Ontario that didn't get covered,
Oh yeah,
like acres wise, like square meters
yeah,
or whatever the hell they call it wise. Yeah.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
Whirling off? Oh no, Whirling's not off. He was saying goodbye to Steve. Yeah. So see, Barbie's already got the far right experience going on in Alberta, and that's what scares me about if we take him, Pierre, if he's going to go that far right, where that woman, what was her name? No, Danielle Smith, right?
Yeah,
Is that her name, Danielle Smith?
yeah, it sounds familiar.
Because Ford's done some crazy things, and he's PC.
Right.
Like, shut down why did he shut down the Ontario Science Center? Because he wanted to move it.
Well, yeah, and the renovations,
Yeah,
the costs outweighed it, right?
yeah. That's what he says.
Or so he
Yeah,
says.
see? Yeah. I noticed the label say made in Canada from imported materials. For even things like those little goofy cups of fruit. The fruit will be picked in South America. It'll be packed in Thailand and then sent back over to North America for our consumption.
Right.
Like, why would a grape need to cross the ocean twice?
Well, it all depends what else they're shipping with it.
See, and our big, yeah, exactly, right. And our big
Yeah.
thing is so we got a bunch of calamities going on in Canada. So we got to worry about number one, our healthcare system and our interest rates and getting the middle class working again, which, in my opinion, is basically the tradespeople, right?
Right.
But then Trudeau's picked fights with the Indian government.
Yeah.
And instead of picking a fight with them, we should be doing a lot of trading with them.
Yes.
And then you've got those guys making that other central currency, the BRICS currency.
Yeah.
Now, we can't jump on that. We're right next door to America. If we jump on that, that's it for doing any trade with America.
Yeah, for sure.
But China's always the first one to come up and offer money when you want to do a big project, right? The Silk Road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not in the winter, Barbie. Hell no. Just going across the Great Lakes in the winter is like a life-changing experience.
Drive to Halifax in the winter. Yeah.
Well, if you got a Jeep.
Yeah, I mean, if it's one of those things, I would say if you have to go, go. But if you don't have to go, don't bother.
Well, when I was a kid, my dad was a bit of a rabble rouser, and he was a mechanic. So obviously, back then I didn't understand, but as I got older, obviously I did. So he lost his license in Ontario, his driver's license, and he's a car mechanic.
Right.
So he kind of needs. So next thing you know, we were selling our house in Oakville. We had a little shack on Rebecca Street in Oakville somewhere, and we're moving to Calgary. And we go from this little shack to this big, beautiful house. You look out the patio doors at the back of the house, and there's the mountains. And it's Calgary at that time was pretty new. You know what I mean? They had the alleys for the garbage, and it was all pretty nice out there. So next thing you know, we lived in Calgary. So we stayed there exactly 1 year. And then we sold that house, packed up our shit, and came back to Ontario, right? So like I say, I figured it out as I got older. Okay. They pulled him out of the car because he was drunk. Because he used to tell me stories about drag racing on the service roads. Where are you from, Niagara more or from Toronto more?
Well, West Lincoln, which is like Grimsby area.
So okay.
Yeah, Grimsby area.
John, under the Skyway, kind of.
No, it's about halfway between Hamilton and St. Catharines.
Yeah. But I thought, like, where the Skyway comes down, on the one side is Stony Creek and Grimsby and all them towns.
Well, it comes down just the line of Stony Creek. But then there's still you got to go through Stony Creek before you even hit Grimsby. So, and I was up on the mountain. So,
you're on the mountainside.
Yeah, I was on the mountain. So, yeah.
Holy Christ, she's driven from Calgary to PEI. Holy Christ, I haven't even been out to PEI in my life. I've never gone any further east than Quebec City.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't ventured. We want to do it. We want to go on the bikes and head to the East Coast. I've been out west, all through the west, like a number of times. I've been out west, but I haven't gone the other way.
Yeah. I've lived in Calgary twice. I tried it again in my 20s, and I didn't like it then. But yeah, American Uncensored, that's it, right? So that's becoming the common issue with the imported materials, because they're never telling us how much of it is the imported material, right? And I think that's one of Trump's big beef with Mexico, is because China, in their infinite wisdom, set up some car manufacturing plants in Mexico. And now that's the way to beat the tariff, because Chinese automobiles and Mexican automobiles have a different tariff, right? A lot of things he's mad about, he's 100% correct. Well, I'll never say he's a stupid guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Because the things he's mad about, I'd be mad about too.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like the thing with the Panama Canal. So I do a little more digging into it, because at first I think, what a lunatic. What's he talking about, taking the canal back? Well, it turns out they built a dock on one end of the canal and a dock on the other end of the canal. And who owns it? China. So
Gotcha.
so that's why he's mad about the canal.
Right.
Because if your adversary owns both sides of a route that you need to get your warships to war, then obviously there's a problem, right?
Well, and that was the other thing too, is that you said, as soon as they did that, it just drove up the cost of all the shipping, because they didn't have the control of it anymore.
Right. There's that too, right? So America spent all the money all them years ago building that canal. They ran it until it wasn't profitable anymore to run.
Right.
Then they handed the keys over to the Panamanian people, the government.
Right.
And then this has been the thing. They're still getting charged to use it. It should have come with a grace clause, right? We paid for it.
Yeah. You would think so.
Yeah, we paid for it. We're never paying to put a boat in this water.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I would be.
But yeah, I mean, that's a scary, that's the other scary part, is China's on both ends of it. So, as things escalate, I think that's what he's looking at too, is, they got to take back some of that control.
Well, see, I wonder if there's a couple lines of thinking and big problems, right? Is wait and see how it plays out and where it goes. Lots of people have that attitude, right?
Yeah.
Or let's force the inevitable to happen now. You know what I mean? So if he knows that there's going to be a big beef with the other side of the world, with the currency thing, with the trade thing, with everything else, with stealing secrets, and you want to just force it to the forefront, then you may as well just force it to the forefront, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just get it dealt with, and it's done.
It's our comment there, Bob. I live next to Perry Sound. Love the views. Hate the Karens.
So he must live out in the mountains. well, Orland's from America. I know that. So he must be near the mountains where he is too. That is it's pretty awe inspiring when you ride up and see those mountains, right?
Right.
I
You
bet
ever
you.
been to Vancouver?
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was one thing I really loved about that was you get off the airplane and you look in one direction and
Yes.
it's like down and it's like the city or whatever, and then you turn around, you do a 180 and like there's all the mountains behind you. Like it was an impression I'll never forget.
So it's funny. I went out there when I first started being a strip joint disc jockey. So now all of a sudden I'm a strip joint disc jockey. I can work anywhere, right?
Right.
As long as you got the right swagger and the right way to talk to people when you walk in the front door, you're DJing for them. So I went
Yes.
out there for 2 weeks and I said, okay, I'm going back to London. Sell what I need to sell, pack up my shit, and I'm going to live out here. And in the meantime, one of the strippers in London convinced me to fall in love, and I stayed. Otherwise, my whole life would have been on a whole different trajectory, man.
Yeah. It's funny how that happens, eh?
No, Warland, we're not wondering where the Karen is, bro. We're wondering where do you live at, bro? Are you out in the by the mountains in America? You're
Well,
not
I
Canadian,
think
are you?
I think they meant Perry Sound. I was just wanting clarification.
Well, no, he's not. I don't think he lives in Ontario. I think he's American. Warland is.
We'll see what
I did.
happens here.
I did like that though. I did really like that. Warland, I follow a girl from what's YT? Oh, on YouTube from Oregon. She feels the government should pay everyone a comfortable wage, get child support till the kids are 30. Oh, and if you listen to her online rants. But so so here's another way of thinking about that though, the basic wages and stuff. Is if our society is going more towards AI and they're kind
Yeah.
of getting rid of most of the manufacturing jobs in this side of the world and all that. So there's no more good jobs available to us. They might have to give us basic income.
Yeah, they might have to. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can only be so many people delivering your burgers to your front door.
Right. But on the same
Oh,
token,
nice.
Bob, a preference or something I've been saying for quite a while, and it's no dig at anybody.
Mm.
But I believe that if you are not on unemployment, but assisted living, if you will,
Yeah.
that you should have to do 10 hours of volunteer work a month.
Oh, for those kind of people, absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
welfare.
Yeah.
I believe sitting at home on your butt doing nothing is not getting you back out into the workforce itself.
Well, no,
Yeah,
and we all know that a lot of people use it for that. That's their occupation. That's
right,
their profession, right? That's as far as they
right,
want to go. And then there's other people
yeah,
that are doing it because they've got other issues in their life with addictions and stuff, and
right,
that just keeps them out of the tent.
right,
You know what I mean? Which is kind of I got a bit of that at my place, but I kind of want to try to do it my hand, right? If I
right.
can, we'll see how it
Yeah,
works out. So
yeah. I
Warland,
just
yeah,
and if
Warland's.
they do a universal, amount of money per month, whatever, then they have to make people do like 5 hours, 10 hours a month to get it.
Yeah, exactly. You see the extreme right people want to have mandatory drug testing to get a check cut to you, and you
Yep.
know, there's only so far you can take people. So if you want to do
Right.
that to make them get a check, then why don't you get every one of them who's got some sort of addiction and go fix them,
Right.
right? And
Yep.
before you start being penalizing, then go try to help them first.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it seems like everybody wants their solution to the homeless problem is going to be a penalty. You're going to jail. You're getting kicked out. You can't live here. You can't be there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. We need
Smiling Buddhas.
to. Speaking of the
Oh,
homeless problem, we need to start embracing the tiny houses thing for them.
right, right. Yeah, she was. We were talking. I can't remember whose interview. The Smiling Buddha used to be the #1 ranked tattoo shop in Canada for years, and they're in Calgary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's what she was saying. That it's still in the same spot. She got her first tattoo there, like in the '80s.
Cool.
And the guy I go to, he came from a shop in London called the Blue Dragon, and
Okay.
and he's ranked in those magazines and stuff. His name's Mike Austin, but he got to the point like you were talking about earlier, where he could put his studio in his house and people could come to him.
Yeah. And you know
Right?
the whole thing. You know, there's lots of great artists and there's lots of bad artists and there's lots of
Sure.
great shops and there's lots of bad shops. You
Yeah.
know, and you know one of the great things that my mentor taught me when in my earlier was you know, you never have to badmouth another artist
Yeah.
because the clients that come in will already be telling you those stories of badmouthing that artist.
Yeah.
So just put your head down, do your work. There's more skin going to be made every single day. Don't worry about it. You know, there's no need at all to badmouth anybody. And I'm the first one to acknowledge I see like, you know, a great tattoo on somebody like, hey, you know, who did that? Like, that's a great job, you know, like, and I think that just shows maturity and class, you know, in this industry. And
Right.
I guess I'm lucky enough that I've met a number of really, you know, good quality artists that are out there, and they don't worry about everybody else. They
And
just
and
put their pants on, and they go to work every day like everybody else does.
and the other thing you got to consider when you're talking about other tattoo artists and shit to a tattoo artist, it's almost like you're putting them down without meaning to. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Hey, have you ever heard of Mike Austin? He's really good. You don't want to hear that.
no, it doesn't bother me. I always say too, like you know, if you find an artist that you like and does your style, and you've created a relationship with, like stay with them. I'm
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
talk you out of going to that person to come to me
See,
because
I use,
as long as I hold my own and I do what I do, then you're going to say, you know what, I know this great guy in Brantford. You know,
yeah, yeah,
if you're looking for a tattoo, and that's what you build on. It's
yeah.
not about you know downplaying the rest of the other ones that are out there. I'll never ever sell my service. I'll earn my business.
Well, that's a good way to put it. So,
You know,
Warland, I remember reading about a city here in America who built a bunch of tiny homes and had to build a bunch more. And see, they built a bunch in a small city south of London in St. Thomas. And then we're going to wait and see how that pilot project went off. But I think that it's going to have some success. See, I hate this. Hey, we're bouncing around from subject to subject. It's because I think by the time you and I talk about something and move on to the next thing, the chat's responding to what we talked about a subject ago, right?
right, right.
Right. But yeah, and back to the tattoos. We'll finish one subject. I promise you. What are
Sure.
your thoughts on tattoo shows and conventions and tying them into biker events and stuff?
Um, I think tattoo conventions are good. You know, it's a good way for the general public to be able to see the wide variety of artwork that is out there and know what's available to them. Um, but I don't think they should just do loosey goosey
Oh,
where
that's
you
cool.
can you know pop up a booth here at a convention and pop up a booth there kind of deal, right? Like
Yeah,
there is, you know, even though you're in a convention hall and you know you have all these artists and whatever else, like everything's been okayed by the public health. Where
yes,
you know if you got these one-offs that are there or whatever, unless somebody like myself, and it's not to promote myself, but like I jumped through the hoops
yes.
to
If
be
somebody's
able to
got
become a mobile tattoo
right,
artist, right? So
and
they
God knows
trust
we've
my
been to
system,
biker
what I
parties
do.
and we've seen other ones.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I mean that's the thing. There's my biggest problem that I have. Well, what do I think about it is I don't think that they should have them out just doing one-offs
like
unless
at a biker party, and here's Joe Blow's tattoos is going to join us.
yeah, I don't think that's right.
Yeah,
That it's not about taking business away from anything. It's just um, it's not being sanctioned by the health board, you know, and
right.
approved because you know the you have to tattoo everybody like they have the HIV virus. You got to protect
Right.
them. You have to protect
You.
yourself.
And
right?
the next guy.
So, yeah, and so the thing is, everybody says, "Oh, well, my tattoo. Always see him open the needle in front of me." That's one small fraction. I
Right.
mean, what you didn't see was the 5 times he double touched everything else and cross contaminated everything
Right.
because you're not trained to know that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And see, I used to
So
have a mobile food trailer, and it was the same way. Mobile food's the hardest people to get past the health people.
right,
They had me throwing out packs and packs of chicken because they weren't 10 degrees. They were
right,
12 degrees. And I said, I'm going to
right,
cook it out. She's like, I don't care. You're going to throw it out. You're not going to
right,
cook it out. You're going to throw it out.
right.
And
So
it's the
it's kind
same.
of the same thing, Bob. It kind of answers that same thing where if they're doing these one-offs at a biker party or here or there, whatever else, unless their process has been approved in some sort
Right.
of format, everybody now is at risk. And I just don't agree with that.
And I imagine it'd be the same as just like food. You call up the health board a month before you're coming and say, I'm going to set up my rig at this spot. And
Right.
then before you start laying ink, they can come and run an inspection.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the biggest thing you can do is work with the health board. Like they're
absolutely.
there for a reason. Like they're not there against you. They want to see you succeed, but they want to see you succeed properly.
Right. Because,
You
like you
know?
say, it doesn't matter. Even the ink's forever, but whatever else comes with that ink is forever also.
Yeah.
Whether it's a HEP or an HIV or whatever, right? A
Yeah.
skin or a blood virus is you got it. Once you got it, you got it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So these guys are. Let's go back to the tiny homes thing. What did you think about tiny homes and what? Like I'm going to say what Pierre needs to do about the homeless because he's going to be the next guy when things start happening again.
Right. I'm a big advocate for tiny homes or container homes, if you will. I
Yeah.
mean, they've been using container units in Europe for years. They're at all the campuses, all the universities.
Oh,
This is not new to them. They've been doing it for years
no
with
shit.
great success. And there now I just saw a thing in Japan where they're using what do you call them? It's the pipes they lay under the ground for the waterworks.
Okay, so the great big
Great big
cement ones.
cylinder kind of things, and
Yeah.
they're making those right on main streets in Japan for people to, if they got to be in town overnight, kind of deal, and they can rent these out, these little container units, and they got a window on each end or a door and a window on the other end kind of deal, and it's got a little bed in there and electricity, whatever kind of deal.
Japan seems
So
like a cool country, eh?
people just need to get creative and get their mind wrapped around it that yes, we have a problem and we need to be able to take care of our people effectively and efficiently, and container units aren't going to be able to answer those questions.
Right. Good night, Warling. Take care of your old lady, bro. We'll see you in the morning on Mike's show. All right. Yeah. See, it's not weird. The first place I saw the containers used, and they weren't really for residences, but they were being used for buildings, was in Puerto Rico after the hurricane.
Okay.
I think that they're still using them.
Yeah.
This is
I mean,
some
they're
other kids.
durable.
Yeah.
You can stack them.
They're cold though. Imagine being in Canada, one of those babies where
Oh
Barbie
well,
is right
you would
now.
insulate it
Ooh,
though.
buddy. Oh yeah, I know.
But you'd insulate it, right? So I don't
All
know.
right. Thank you
I'm
for joining us, Chris.
Wait,
Thanks for coming out, Chris. Go ahead, Doug. Sorry, bro.
no, it's okay. I was just saying I really think it will efficiently address the homeless problem. Um, and not even the homeless, but um, somebody like myself, for example, right? Like I'll never buy another house. I would
Yeah.
consider buying a container unit house for 30,000-40,000.
Well, exactly, right?
Because I'm at that point now where I don't need all the big bells and whistles anymore.
Yeah.
And and now it becomes affordable for somebody to own a home, which is, as we know, going into the current generation, nobody's ever going to be able to put money down on a home unless you win the lottery, and that's so sad.
Yeah, and again, that's why I'm trying to hold on this place for dear life. I just don't even know if I'm going to make it, if it's worth the fight. You know what I mean? That those are the conversations you start having in your own head. Is it worth this fight?
Right.
You know, you know. I hate to say it. I got family with a double lot somewhere, and why don't you just let me put something on the back of the lot, leave your own water, and I tie into the sewer, and I can get out from under this fucking place, right?
Right. I
You know
tell
what
the
I
wife all
mean?
the time, that, we're one day away from living in the van down by the river.
Oh, see, and that's something they should do in London too. They got unused office space downtown
Yeah.
because lots of people are working at home now, and start
Yeah.
turning them into affordable apartments or just
Yeah.
anything apartments. But
Yeah.
again, they're letting the big companies buy up our real estate. So I don't know. I think Brantford's not so bad for rent. I've looked down there before, but in London, if I wanted to rent my house, I better have $3,500 in my pocket every month.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's exactly what the mortgage is.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting any further ahead by getting out of the mortgage and getting into a rental.
Right.
So what do you do, right?
Other than the bank, and that's always the funny thing is, right? You can get a mortgage and it's $1,600 a month, but you've been paying, 2,800 for rent, but now the bank says you can't afford it. Well, how do you afford 2,800 every month for rent, but you're going to give me a mortgage for 16 that I can't afford apparently?
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
But
Like something's got to give.
but see, and that's what we're down to. That's even what my last video about where's 2025 going to take us. We're going around in circles because the Bank of Canada is owned by the federal government, but they operate with autonomy, so they
Right.
can control the inflation rates. So if they bring down the interest, the inflation is going to rise. It's always like that, right? One goes down, the
Yep.
other one goes up to match it.
Right.
But we're living through the inflation anyway. So they may as well just make the money free to borrow again and let the hammers start banging nails in again.
Yep.
Nothing
Yep.
like the sounds of a construction job site in the middle of summer when there's 100, 200 guys out there all making a good living for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And even these container homes. I mean, obviously, that's going to be more work for jobs as well. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, the container homes, they're still going to need a heat source and a cooling source. And,
yeah,
everyone thinks you don't need a cooling source in Canada. Yeah, you
yeah,
do.
yeah,
We do now. Now, when I was a kid, we could sleep with the windows open and the breeze would go through and we'd be fine.
right.
There'd be maybe a week in August that you'd sweat it out, but not anymore.
Yeah, never had air conditioning in the house I grew up in. So,
No, that's what I mean. We never did. The last house I lived in that my parents owned didn't even have ductwork. We had a wood stove for the winter
yeah,
and some baseboard heaters for whatever the wood stove wouldn't do, right?
yeah.
I
Heck,
didn't even put ductwork.
my last two vehicles didn't even have air conditioning.
No?
No,
Wow.
I'm old school. I'll roll the window down.
Well, that's a cool way to do it, Barbie. And it's nice if you're in that situation. And me, unfortunately, my mom's helped me out, try to keep this house. So I can't keep going back to the bank of mom. If I'm in
Right.
my late 40s, how old is she? Or no, late 50s, sorry. You know what I mean? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She's not a spring chicken. I can't keep put myself in that pocket. No, it is. You're fortunate. Now, everyone out west, I guess, I keep looking at the ads out west. There's tons of ads for my profession out west, right?
Right.
Subcontracts. They're rebuilding Jasper. They're still building Fort Mac back and all the rest of it. Edmonton's supposed to be booming. But man, I hate living out there. I can't stand it out there. The
No,
fucking winters are brutal.
but the other thing about it is it's proportion, right? You're going to make money, but then it's going to cost you more money to live there. Same thing as
Right.
every job in downtown Toronto, you got to make at least $100,000 a year. Well, yeah,
Yes.
because you also got to pay this astronomical amount to live downtown Toronto. So
And,
yeah, it's all
and
in proportion.
and that's the other thing I've been kicking around. Do I want to drive 2 hours back and forth every day and go get a Toronto wage?
Right.
I could probably do that for the short term. It's just how many months can you get into that before it's like, this is exhausting.
Yeah.
I do
And
got family down there.
it comes down to your time too, right? Like, do you want to waste that much? Is your what's the dollar value to your time in your life, right?
Right.
I'd much rather make peanuts and be absolutely happy every day
Yeah.
than making a shitload of money and hating my job that I go to.
I mean, I'm the kind of guy that I can survive on like 4 or 5 different small revenue streams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be something that's bringing me $6,000 a week legally, because whatever. I was never home for that, and I was always mad every time that phone rang. I wanted to shoot. I say no, because there's 5 in the morning. I just went to bed at 3 in the morning. You call me back at 5 in the morning. They don't care.
No.
All they know is somebody called in.
Yeah.
In Enbridge, anyone that calls in and says, I smell gas, a technician has to show up within an hour.
Right.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
As what Barbie said, there's so much building going on. I keep thinking about it. It's not like it's impossible to do. Everything's online now anyway.
Right.
I was looking into one of those camps, but they needed a G1 ticket, and I only got a G2 ticket. They fly in for a couple months and fly home for a couple months.
Oh.
That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. I mean, if you could work it out, it wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. There's always got to be someone around that can give me a hand and make sure that my son's taken care of and shit. I got some family around and some friends around and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I just hate leaving the guy at home by himself because he likes it better when I'm home, right?
Right.
It's his comfort spot, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it is what it is. Yeah, well, the 401 every day would get tiring, that's for sure. The only way I was thinking about it was I got some family down there. I could go and spend 2 days, come home, spend 2 days, come home. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I was going to do the Toronto thing.
Yeah,
we'll see how it plays out. Yeah. I got to figure something. Like you say, this spring I got to do a big 180 on income and what's going on. And if the HVAC company isn't going to survive on its own, put it to bed.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not the worst thing in the world to shut down a business.
No.
It is got it's got tons of debt, so I may as well just bankrupt it and walk it away, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been self-employed almost since I was like 17 years old. So, I'm fortunate enough that I've been able to, work the jobs that if I wanted to work a job, I worked the job. If not, and then I had a business or whatever. I mean, I graduated high school at 17. By 23, I started and sold 3 different businesses.
Nice.
So, it's just I have that knack, right? Like I just have it in me to do, right? So that's why I'm saying, like, I'll work till the day I die, and I'll be happy doing it because I just enjoy putting my pants on and going to work every day.
Yeah.
And
now first I got to get back in that frame of mind where I want to get up at 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning, get my work clothes on, get out the fucking door and go find something to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The problem is after a few days of doing that and there was nothing to do, you stop doing it.
Yeah.
So then instead of stop doing it, I got to have retrain my focus or just bite the bullet and go work for somebody.
Right.
Just go I know every Friday there's going to be a paycheck for that much and live with it.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like you can unlearn what you've already learned. So I'm a technician. So I'll always know how to fix a furnace or install a water heater or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just
not there's skills you're going to take with you no matter what, right? So
yeah. So we'll figure it out. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I say, I don't know where I'm thinking we're going to get to in 2025. Hopefully things turn around for us. So
hope
they
so.
got to.
I think it will. I think it will. It's not going to be miraculous, but if anything, I think it'll generate hope for the country by the end of the year. And I think that's one thing we're lacking, and I think that's something that we really need is that morale booster right now. And we've lost sight, and hopefully we can the right hurrah from whatever party kind of deal.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going to end up by the end of the year.
even guys like me, I think it's time to stop worrying about what party it is,
Right.
and just worry about what's going to be best for the overall picture.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
obviously
Exactly.
the party I prefer shed the bed. So
Right.
there's no sense worrying about them no more.
Right.
And there's no sense worrying about, oh, it's going to be the worst thing, the worst of the worst. When the right takes hold, it just can't be far right. It's just like the left and the right of anything. It can't be far left and it can't be far right. It's got to be centrist of either party.
And I think you're going to see a lot more of that balance come back together between, Canada and the States and just their ideas of moving forward. I think you're going to see that more united front, which I think is just going to grow hope for everybody, I think, as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's where that'd be a good first step, though, is get some hope back. Because just listen to myself talk for the last hour. I don't have much hope just in my own personal situation. Never mind the whole country situation.
Right.
And
then that's the thing is, it's people are at the point where they're almost not even worrying about. Like at one point, you'd be like, "I'm okay, but I'm worried about tomorrow," as a country, But people are not even worried about that anymore. They're just worried about themselves being able to move forward to the next day.
To the next day,
and that's the hope that we've lost is as a country. We've lost sight and direction of there could be a better day tomorrow. And right now, people aren't even they couldn't even be bothered with that. That's still way too far out as far as they see it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's scary out there.
Yeah.
But okay. All right, my brother. What else? Do you want to go down any more roads, or we're gonna pack her in? I'm good either which way, my man.
Well, I think we had a pretty good coverage there. We're almost hour and a half tonight, I guess.
Hour and a half. Yeah. See, that's why I like talking with you, because an hour and a half goes by just like that.
Well, it's always a pleasure, Bob. I'd love to chitter chatter about pretty much anything. So,
good.
Just to reiterate that with the radio station, RiderRadioRocks.com, we give 2 weeks of free advertising to all of the bike clubs and anything that's motorcycle related, charity related kind of deal. And if you have a question whether or not we will support it, throw it out at us, and I'll see what I can do. Not only do we give you the advertising on the station itself, I jam it through all of the social media that we do. I give plugs with all of that. It doesn't cost you a cent at all. I just do it because I just want to cultivate a better motorcycle community is what it is. So, and in turn, hopefully we pick up some new listeners, and that just helps me on my side of things. So reach out to me either through Bob or like I said, RiderRadioRocks.com. Phone numbers on there. You'll get me directly. Send me a text if you want. Email address is on there. Send me the information about your event that we've got going on, and I'll be sure to get back to you.
All right. I thank you, Doug, for everything you do in the motorcycle community. And let's bump into each other on Saturday if we can.
Yes. Well, we exchange phone numbers, so I'll make sure to message you when I'm there. So.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Good night.
Night.
Thank you, everybody in the chat, for coming. It's always a pleasure. I'm going to keep this going on Thursday nights. Doug jumped in and saved my ass because the other person I thought I had set up, I hadn't taken the final steps. It's my problem. It's my bad. But I'll get to him. And thank you, everyone, for participating. Have a good night.